Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to this special review in preparation for Doctor Who Series 7. Now, in regards of the 11th Doctor minisodes, I will be doing separate videos covering all of the minisodes, apart from two which will get their own individual reviews. This one, Pond Life, and also The Night of the Doctor, as that is the 8th Doctor's second and currently last on-screen appearance. So those two are going to get their own special reviews, as is the Five-ish Doctors reboot, Peter Davison's short film for the 50th anniversary. So those three are going to get their own reviews, and then the other minisodes, prequels, slash prologues, and DVD extras, they're going to get separate videos for their own reviews that I should cover, hopefully at the end of the 11th Doctor's era, following the time of the Doctor. I should also cover the TARDIS for David Tennant's era. I forgot to do that, and sorry for any noise you may hear outside. Typical. I start these and then something outside starts being annoying. Let's hope I sound loud, and then the beeping I can hear. I think it's a van moving out. Okay, so Pond Life. This technically serves as a 5-part prequel or prologue. The only two prequels that should be called prequel to insert episode title here are the Assignment of Daleks and the Battle of Demons Run 2 days later, which is a prequel to the Snowmen, one of the three of them. Although the other two came out before the Snowmen, but those two, Asylum and Battle of Demons Run 2 days later, came out after their episodes. Although with the latter, that could technically serve more as a prologue to A Good Man Goes to War, rather than a prequel or prologue to the Snowmen. They fixed it when they came to do the Series 9 ones and called them the prologues. So anyway, so Pond Life serves as a prologue to Series 7, Part 1, as it shows Amy and Rory happily married for 4 months before a 5th month, where they seem to be breaking up in preparation for what happens in Asylum of the Daleks. More on that when we get to that episode. This was actually a 5-part story that was originally broadcast on the BBC Red Button, released each day from the 26th to 31st of August 2012. Was that right? Was it the 27th? 27th to 31st of August 2012. With the full version being available from the 1st of September. And the full version is the version you can see on YouTube, on the BBC YouTube channel, and on the complete 7th series box set, DVD and Blu-ray box set. Funny enough, it's on disc 2 with the episodes 3, 4, and 5, as opposed to disc 1 with the Doctor Who's Widow and the Wardrobe and episodes 1 and 2, even though it's a prequel to episode 1, technically. Or prologue to episode 1, I should say. This miniseries was also written by Chris Chibnall, who would also contribute to the episodes Dinosaurs on a Spaceship and The Power of Three, this series, as well as PS, which sort of serves as an epilogue to Series 7 Part 1. And considering he won't be writing another Doctor Who story until he becomes showrunner after these 2 episodes in Series 7, it makes sense that he be given a couple minisodes to additionally write alongside them. So Pond Life basically sees the life of Amy and Rory when they're not having adventures with the Doctor. Basically the Power of Three, but without the cubes. And the Doctor's doing his own little thing. So the first segment, April, sees the Doctor basically escaping Sontarans and having to surf his way away out from the Sontarans on some molten lava thing. Then meeting Marie Antoinette in a hotel in Paris, and there's a definite dick joke there, but it's not one that I think is in poor taste. I actually find that one a kind of a humorous joke that time round. And then he helped do a rap song. Like I said, I find the dick joke humorous, but even if I didn't, I think that doing some hitting down with the groove beat sting was actually the weaker part of that segment. And Amy and Rory just listening to this on the answer phone of their phone and drinking wine to the Doctor. That's basically about it for April. We get to see the Sontarans again. Yay! Okay, May's a bit better. The Doctor actually accidentally bursts in on Amy and Rory whilst in bed, babbling about stuff, and then realising he's got the wrong time. And then just goes after assuring them that the future is very safe, whilst we get a couple of preview clips from Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. Why only Dinosaurs on a Spaceship? Well, this story, like I said, is written by Chris Chibnall, who writes that episode, so that makes sense why that episode has clips being shown, but why they don't show any other clips from other episodes? Not even The Power of Three, the other episode in this series written by Chibnall. It's just Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. That being said, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, at time of recording this, is my favourite Series 7 Part 1 episode, so I'm not complaining too much. I'm just wondering. Fun fact, at the time of recording, I haven't even watched the Doctor in the Wardrobe for its review yet. This one is being recorded in advance of that, but I'll check that out along with the Sign of the Daleks and Dinosaurs on Spaceship later, maybe, or at a later date. But this review will be sneakily being included between Doctor with a Wardrobe and the Silent ones, even though it's recorded in advance. Naughty, naughty. Anyway, so June is probably the shortest segment, as it sees Rory and Amy discovering an Ood is just in their loo. Basically, the Ood on the loo joke is played here, and it's a funny joke. And that's basically June. That's it. That was a very short bit. July shows the Ood basically being the butler and servant to Amy and Rory. This is probably the best episode. You got quite a couple of good gags, because the Ood, when we first meet them, were made to be servants, and that was established in Impossible Planet and later shown in Planet of the Ood how this happened. So basically, the Ood, as this is one with the orb thing, it's basically programmed to serve Amy and Rory. It was basically doing that when the Doctor rescued it, but accidentally left it behind at Amy and Rory's. He says it when he came in the other night, which implies May, so it's possible that the event, the May one was late May, and then the June one was early June, and then they've had him for a month, and the Doctor's only just gotten back to their message in July, so that by August, he would have taken it back up to back to the Utopia and taken it back to join the hive mind. With the knowledge about the Ood from the past episodes they have appeared in, Chris Chibnall has definitely done his homework. I'm expecting the Ood to return sometime during your era, Chibnall. We've had 2 series already. You've got at least 3 left. Presumably. Apparently he's doing series 14 and 15, so you've got 3 series. So Chibnall, I expect to see the Ood at least once during either series 13, 14 or 15. And the Silurians. We had the Silurian gun appear in a series 12 episode, Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror to be precise, but we need to see the Silurians again. And make the Sontarans not a joke, if they're coming back. They were rumoured for series 12, but they didn't come back in series 12. Anyway, so basically the July stuff sees the Ood just being Amy and Rory's servant for the episode. Rory being very guilty, but Amy convincing him just to roll with it. Not that she's entirely happy with the situation, but she's just saying, "Oh, don't worry yourself. Just let it do what it just let it do what it wants to do, and once it's gone, we'll have things back to normal." Like I say, she's not particularly happy about it. She just doesn't want Rory to worry too much, and just doesn't want to cause a fuss. Okay, so moving on to August, and this is the worst one. Okay, if we were talking in the plot of each segment, it would have been April, but the events at the end of this one that actually lead into a Sign of the Daleks directly is what causes this one to be my least favourite. So the Doctor is changing the bulb on the lamp on top, which is a nice touch. So he's calling Amy and Rory, talking about them about the Ood, and doing a few more adventures like inventing pasta. And then he's worried about them because he went to try and see them, but they were out and busy, and now he's getting worried. Not sure why he should be worrying if he just couldn't catch them. Maybe they were at work. We sort of saw that they were going to work in the July segment. I love the fact that Rory has to take a packed lunchbox like school children do. Nice touch, fantastic. My only disappointment is it wasn't an in joke where it was a Doctor Who lunchbox. That would have been very funny. Anyway, so the Doctor's now getting worried about Amy and Rory all of a sudden, and it turns out that he was right to, even though there wasn't really much of a reason why he should be getting worried about them. But it turns out he was right to worry about them, as we see a bit where Rory is basically running out of the house with Amy shouting and crying from behind. And at the end, she says to herself, they need the Doctor. After he actually deletes the message for some reason. He's calling them up, and then he deletes the message himself, which is why Amy says to herself that they need him. So yeah, and that whole bit where Rory running out and Amy shouting after him leads directly into Asylum of the Daleks, although it doesn't really match up with what is said in Asylum, where apparently Amy kicks Rory out, but here it looks like Rory left and Amy was shouting after him. So yeah. Not a very good ending, because it's tying into A Sign of the Daleks, and that whole... I'm going to get to it when I get to that episode, because that is going to be probably my biggest complaint of that episode, although there are going to be plenty of complaints of that one, and that's even before I've rewatched the episode. So, yeah. But I will talk about that next time, with the A Sign of the Daleks review. Well, at the time of recording, I've still got to do the Doctor Widow and Wardrobe one, but by the time this is out, the next one will be A Sign of the Daleks, so I'll talk about that then. So that will be next time for you. Anyway, so Pond Life. This is a nice collection of short moments between the lives of the Doctor, Amy, and Rory. Not particularly perfect, but it's okay for 5 to 6 minutes. It's alright. Like I said, the April stuff is pretty weak. There isn't really an awful... Well, for the Doctor, it's not too bad, but for Amy and Rory, it's just sitting at home listening to the recording messages. The June stuff is really quick, and the August stuff just... the August stuff was fine until we got to the bit that actually links with the Sign of the Daleks. And yeah, and it's not that, and what happens in the Sign of the Daleks does not work, so it doesn't really work here. In fact, it actually makes this story worse. What's even more so is that this technically is the months leading up to A Sign of the Daleks. Apparently, they're divorcing in September. Supposedly, it takes 6 to 7 months to get the divorce, but it implies here it only took them a month, perhaps at most. So yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, unless this was taking place a year earlier, and now it's been a year or so since this first argument, perhaps. In fact, this argument came out of nowhere. The Doctor took the Ood back home, and then the argument happened. And again, I'll talk more about the argument next time. But it doesn't work. What's explained in the next episode, it ruins Amy and Rory, and this episode doesn't really help with that. It teases at what's going to be in the next episode, but it doesn't really give us much explanation. Furthermore, the first 4 months showed them happily married and having fun together. It was pretty much business as usual, and then they're in an argument where Rory leaves / is kicked out, depending on which version of the story we're looking at, and then they're ready to divorce within at earliest a month. And whilst people could excuse the idea that there was Pond Life to see why Amy and Rory were getting a divorce, why they're angry, again, no, because the first 4 segments showed them happily married, and then the last segment just showed them at the end of the argument, but we didn't know what argument was about. We're waiting for A Sign of the Daleks to find out. So yeah, you can't use Pond Life as a way to explain why Amy and Rory are having a breakdown in their relationship, because it's only on screen for a few seconds, and inside it's in quiet. We're hearing the Doctor's voice message. We don't know what it's about until we get to the next episode, so we can't use Pond Life as an excuse to find out why they're breaking up. And it wasn't like that the stuff beforehand was all happy-go-lucky, and nothing can ever shock our world, and then the argument happens, and then it's basically a good man goes to war section where we've got to our highest point and then drops so far low it's almost barely recoverable. No, it's just business as usual. So, and the argument itself, when we get to the Sign of the Daleks, that argument is pretty terrible. So, the explanation is pretty terrible. So, yeah, it's not a rise up so high in the relationship only to crash and burn at this point in time, only to be just about recovered in the next episode. No, it's just business as usual, and then this happens, and it's more of a blip on the radar in the grand scheme of things. So actually, Pond Life turned out to be pointless in the grand scheme of things, because it doesn't really show that much of Amy and Rory's relationship with the argument, because it doesn't really show why they're arguing. That they don't even show the argument; they're just showing the very end of that, and then we're just leaving it on a cliffhanger until next time. So that doesn't help. And the good stuff we get with them, some of it is bland and dull, and some of it is actually pretty good, to be honest. Actually, this story is actually more worth watching for the Doctor going off on his side adventures rather than for Amy and Rory. Although the Ood stuff in the July bit is really good. That is a really good bit, and I enjoyed the May segment. So overall, Pond Life is a good minisode, but it does feel a bit pointless in the grand scheme of things. If maybe there was a bit more of the Amy-Rory relationship actually shown a bit more, because that was the whole point of this, but actually it didn't really show an awful lot of it. Maybe combined it shows a little bit, but, we don't see them working, we don't have much more of the discussions. We've got quite a bit of that in Chris Chibnall's The Power of Three, actually, as well as some interactions with Brian Williams in both that episode and Dinosaurs on the Spaceship. So, yeah, despite Chibnall doing probably the best work on Amy and Rory of this series, Series 7, this episode kind of doesn't quite get to the heights of Dinosaurs or Power would. Then again, those episodes are full-length episodes, whilst this one's only 5 to 6 minutes and going to be split into 5 segments. But even then, it's still not quite there yet. That being said, the Doctor bits are still really fun, and I really enjoyed the and the cast do really great stuff, and it's a fun minisode overall. It's definitely worth checking out. It's just a shame it's just a shame it doesn't really focus on Amy and Rory that much, and the bit at the very end tying in to Asylum doesn't really leave us with anything to go with until we get to that episode. So, yeah, on the whole, I'm going to give Pond Life a 6 out of 10. This kind of makes me disappointed, really, because I did like Pond Life. I thought it was very good, but in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really need to be there. It's sort of like the missing 6th episode, only 5 to 6 minutes long instead of 45 minutes for Amy and Rory in this series. That's about it from me. Thank you for watching this review of Pond Life. I will be covering other minisodes in their own videos after the 11th Doctor's era, with the Night of the Doctor and the Five-ish Doctors reboot getting their own separate ones, and also with the 12th Doctor's 2 prologues to Series 9, they will get a video for themselves as well, and TARDISes will also get a video of themselves, but with the 11th Doctor ones, I'm going to do charity specials, so that's Space and Time and The Great Detective. Prequels and prologues, although some of them will be in the DVD exclusive option, DVD Blu-ray exclusive stories. Ones because some of them fit into that. Well, those ones like the 5th episode of the Night of the Doctor miniseries technically is a closing time prequel or prologue. The DVD Blu-ray extras, so like Meanwhile in the TARDIS, Night in the Doctor, and some of the stuff from Series 7, and some of the other mini ones will also get covered in another video, like the Script to Screen ones. But Pond Life needs its own review, so here we are. Right, that's it from me. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time for my review / rant, and I'm not even going to say potential. I haven't rewatched it yet, but I am 100% expecting it to be a rant, so yeah, prepare for that. Probably, and if it doesn't turn out to be a rant, which is very unlikely, you'll find out with the title of the video, but it will probably be a rant. So expect that coming up, and I'll see you guys for that next time. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel. Technically, the only episode that actually, the only prequel that should be called the prequel, rather than a prologue to the Snowmen. Each episode, and on the complete 7th series Blu-ray box set, which you that's what was the problem. Even though it was a prologue to episode 1. Anyway, so what happens in Pond Life, this mini-series? And considering he won't be writing for the series until 2017, writing 2018 broadcast after this, and considering he wouldn't be and considering after 2012 he would be taking a good 5-year break before writing for Doctor Who again and considering he won't write for the show again until he becomes showrunner, it sounds right that he gets to write most of the minisodes this time around. He gets to write most of the stuff in Series 7 Part 1, here. And considering he won't be... Pond Life, the first mini episode, I suppose, may as well go in month order. So, call it basically the Power of 3, but with no so April, the first one. So the first, yeah. Okay, I think that's definitely worse than the. But why it's only dies while it's on a spaceship and not the Power of 3, not even the Power of 3, the other Chibnall era episode. This is at time of recording. I may confirm. This is at time of recording, by the way. This opinion might change after watching the actual episodes. Seems like Russell. Sounds like Chris Chibnall's been doing his homework. Chris Chibnall has indeed been with the ref. You need. Well, apparently he's doing series 14 and 15 as well as series 15. Well, apparently he's signed on to. Well, apparently he's show running series 14 and 15, which I know a lot of people are gonna get really annoyed about that. So Chibnall, I expect to see you at least once in the next 3 series. And the Silurians. We got Silurian gun back in series 12, but Nicholas Knight. Okay, maybe okay. If we return into but anyway. And it won't be far behind. So yeah, maybe even less than a month. So yeah, and yeah, and Pond Life. Yeah. So yeah, this story doesn't really. I think June was probably the most. I mean, maybe combined, it could have shown. It may have, but yeah, so prequels and prologues, and epilogues, I suppose, for the Battle of Two Demons Run 2 days later. This case, I suppose, prequels and prologues, including some that are DVD, not including DVD, including ones, not including, and then some of the other stuff we might cover some other and then maybe some of the other minisode, and then whatever's left, perhaps. Also, the script to screen ones, which I also the script to screen ones will be covered there as well. Although definitely, and so yeah, but Pond Life was a kind of like it needed its own. But Pond Life needed its own review. It's like it needed it.